There you go. Now, I will turn this around so you can see the room. You're not going to see me. I'll try to aim it at the speaker. Sorry, we are having some difficulties. I think they can. Can someone let us know if you can hear us?
Can we share documents, or are we going to worry about that?
Yes, we're not going to.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right. For those of you just coming in, we apologize. We're having some difficulties. Mary's not here. So we are using my laptop to start the meeting, the virtual meeting.
Offer my personal thanks to the gentleman at the MBA for taking over while I was out for a couple of months. I appreciate that. In fact, he did so well, we might just have to turn it over to him. We'll see. We'll see. All right, well, we're just a little late, 12:05, but we'll be going. Okay, you have the minutes from the last meeting in front of you. Any questions, anybody? Motion to accept the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the minutes from last meeting as printed.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Treasurer's report.
All right, if you'll take a look at the statement of net assets. We did have to transfer 1,500 from the bigger checking account to the smaller one so that they can continue business. That's why you see the 1496 as it's been covered. All right, so once we go to the Excel spreadsheet, 192.63 is interest income. That's the only income we had. Operating expenses, the 1469 is broken down between the Gary Carlson brush hogging and the lawyer. 203 is our monthly expenses, money house, Evergy, QuickBooks, and the bank statement. And that's the 203. And that's everything for this month on the budget. I do have one more item that's coming up next, but I'll need a motion to accept that if there's no questions.
Just one general comment, that attorney fee was for the contract for the box.
In Urban Hess.
Urban Hess.
Mhm.
Sorry, thank you.
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the report now, Mr. Williams, you have something else for us?
Yes, Armed Forces CD matures on the 30th of this month. Right now, we're getting 5.29. They say we will not get the interest rate until whatever it is on the 30th, the day before. I know in the Armed Forces, Armed Forces American Legion, RCDs, the best we could get was 4.3. Which is close to what we're getting on the other account. And what I need to know from the board is, do you want to go ahead and authorize renewing it with Armed Forces, or do you want them to look it over? Because we will not have another meeting, I don't think. And CD will mature before we have another meeting.
So we're gonna do another year long on this one?
That's what the rate was at 1 year. Well, 13 months.
I think last time we talked about staggering these CDs so they're not both out so long. Does anyone remember that?
Yes,
Okay.
there was 6 months and a year.
Right, because the one that the switch from the mutual CD that switched from 6 months to 12 months, when did that one start? Do you have that, Dan?
Maturity date is 11/5/25, so it
Okay, so
started
it
November 5th.
It just started. Okay.
Right.
So
And it is a 12-month.
So I guess my thought is on this mutual would be, do something shorter term just so we stagger the maturities.
Well, what if we just authorize the treasurer and staff to go out to the market, get a 6 month rate and
Pick the highest one.
get the highest, take the highest rate, from investors that are involved with supporting economic development. I assume all the banks are, but that doesn't mean it would not be very appropriate to send it to somebody who's not investing in economic development in the county, in my opinion. And
No, I don't think we give it to
So,
Johnny or.
if we authorize the treasurer and staff to go get bids for 6-month trip, take the highest rate and go. That way you won't have to let it sit parked in no interest. I make that as a motion.
Second.
And to that-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, to that point, with interest rates starting to drop, we need to try to capture as much.
Yep.
As quick as possible.
Yep.
Everybody got
Yes, aye.
any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And
Lisa, does that give you all? what you
Yes.
need? Okay. That's everything. Chairman?
thank you. Lisa?
Okay. So projects and leads. We've had a couple come in November, new projects. And I just realized Project Uno, this is an existing company with preliminary interest in 5 to 7 acres, specifically in the Gary Carlson Business Center to build a new facility. So they are right now in the preliminary information gathering stage. They've just kind of made contact with me, and I've shared that, you know, the lots are still available and what the price is. So we'll work with them as that moves forward. Project Aviation, this was a client looking for over 10 acres with access to 8,500 plus foot runway. And so I didn't know of anything, did not.
You don't have one sitting around in your pocket.
13th Street.
There we go. Ongoing projects, the couple projects I wanted to comment on. Project Gold Rush. This is just one of the recent ones. I'm not sure if it was on here last month yet, but this was a pretty intense, labor intense, required a lot of time for this project. And I thought it was interesting because I was looking at one day searching this project to see how many emails it required. And I counted 108 emails back and forth between 6 organizations, including KCADC, which is the organization from which this project came from, the City of Leavenworth, Evergy, Kansas Gas, Leavenworth Waterworks, and the Kansas Department of KDHE. And so it was 2 weeks of just a lot of work, but it's always exciting and interesting. And putting everything together, it required 18 attachments, including the labor study, which again, that's been very helpful in a lot of our projects. I know it was quite a bit of money when we spent the money on it. We're going to look at needing to update that again, so it's recent information. The phase 1 environmental study on the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park, the geotechnical studies, the utility reports, maps that included, roadway maps, all kinds of maps, the FEMA floodplain maps, photos, brochures, just a lot of, and the actual RFI spreadsheet, and asking all these very detailed questions. So we submitted it, and hopefully we'll hear back on. You never know. That's the thing with these, is you do the work and then you just kind of wait and see what happens. The other one that I wanted to comment on is Project Transport. That is still moving forward. That's the one that he's interested in. The 2 lots in the Urban Hess Business Center has indicated you all have voted to go ahead and pursue this. I did go and meet with him with the real estate contract, and he indicated that he would like to move the closing date to the 20th of December. So, excuse me while I make sure we include everybody here. And so we just had to ask the lawyer to please change the date on that, and we'll hopefully get that signed and move still before the end of the year. It would be nice.
Is there anything we need to take action on?
No, I think you guys have already voted. He's agreed to the price. It's cash. It's a pretty simple sale. So we just got to get get the transaction made.
You guys didn't want to slow you down.
You're not at all.
What kind of signature required if he wants to close on the 20th?
Just you and then him, and then we'll send it on to the title company at Resort. So that makes so far 54 project leads that have come in. I need to update the prospect number because we've had way more than 11, but we have 19 active projects right now. Any questions on the projects and leads before I comment on a few other things? No? Okay. So marketing events this last month, Team Kansas FAM Tour. I wanted to talk to you about this. When I was on one of our Team Kansas trips, I mentioned to the Midwestern Department of Commerce rep, Jeff Freeman, hey, I really want to make sure we're not missing anything on marketing for the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park. And he mentioned that the state was planning a familiarization tour or FAM tour where they would show off some of the great, localities, local places here for people to locate their businesses. And so he said, why don't you ask and see if you can get on that list? And so we did, and they agreed. So Leavenworth County was showcased on that tour. What happened is it was called the Ad Astra FAM Tour, and they wanted to show, the goal was to show Kansas successes and opportunities. And of course we said, we've got both successes and opportunities in Leavenworth County. So they flew in several site consultants from all over the nation into Kansas City area, and then they spent 3 days showing them our great state of Kansas. One of those days included helicopter tours. They had to do it in 2 different tours since there were so many consultants. And so while they were flying and doing the tour, some of the communities, Kansas communities, were on the ground with the other group and doing speed dating with them, giving our elevator speeches. So the path for the helicopter included several places in the Kansas City, Kansas kind of region, and they came up from the south to Leavenworth County. They flew over the Leavenworth Business and Technology Park. The city of Leavenworth had the letters LV in large letters painted on the ground so that they could see the park and see that great location. And then they turned and went south and over to Tonganoxie Business Park, where they were able to show successes, companies that have invested in this community, and talked about Hills and DSM. And so that was pretty exciting that we got to be on that tour. And again, I was on the ground doing the speed dating. I was not in the helicopter. Then later that evening, the communities that were involved in that, and then the Department of Commerce staff, we took them over to the American Royal World Series of barbecue. So I think they had a great time getting to taste some of the barbecue and see some of the fun things that are going on in Kansas City. And then another Team Kansas trip, I went to Atlanta. This was facilitated by Beth Johnson, who is the East Coast business recruitment project manager there. So that was kind of cool. We had 9 site consultants from the Atlanta area. And so then we had 4 commerce reps, including the Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of Commerce, David Tolan, and then 5 of the Kansas community. So it gave us a good chance to develop relationships. So a couple of them I had met before, so it was nice to, see them again and further foster those relationships. Upcoming events on Friday, I was invited to attend the Northeast Kansas County Officials Association annual meeting. Several economic developers in the Northeast Kansas area were invited, so I'll be attending that. Guest speakers there will be Deputy Secretary of Kansas Commerce Joshua Jefferson and Executive Director of Kansas Association of Counties, Bruce Chladney. I hope I'm saying that correct. There'll be breakout sessions where Deputy Secretary Joshua Jefferson will answer questions from the Kansas community economic developers. In December, I will be going to one more conference, the Area Development Consultants Forum. This conference will consist of leading site consultants and industry experts focusing on trends influencing location decisions and economic development strategies. So I'll be attending that. And then the rest of the year, we'll be just gathering all the data from the entire year so we can compile them into our annual report, and then we'll present that at our annual meeting. That will occur in January 17th, 11:30 to 1:30 at the Riverfront Community Center. Information will be coming out soon about our speaker and sponsor. Well, I think sponsorship stuff is probably, I don't know, Diana, do you know? If not, the sponsorship information will be coming out.
What was that time again?
11:30 to 1:30. We've extended it a half an hour because we've really been pressed for time the last few years. So we thought better give, it seemed like everybody really wanted to network in the first half hour. So we're giving that first half hour of networking time. And if there are no other questions, that's my report for today.
Any questions, Lisa? We do have one term down here. We can discuss those.
Can I follow up with an email on that? I apologize.
Apparently, I'm-
We still have one open seat from the county and.
Yes.
Have they said anything yet
No.
or comments? Okay.
I saw Tom Cole actually
Mm-hmm.
last week, and I asked him if he could please submit a letter of resignation. And he said, that hasn't been taken care of yet? No, that's all he said, so.
The county's just waiting to have input from the newly elected county commissioners before that decision is made.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mhm.
That's helpful.
I was on a speaker over there. If you'd like to talk about the regional transportation plan. Here, what's on?
Yeah, he's driving, so it may not be real easy. Oh, here he comes.
Yeah. Really the only change I have, the pedestrian and bike trails out at Baser was bid through KDOT. They received 8 bids, which is somewhat surprising. So lots of competition. King's Construction was 1.4. They had budgeted, just over 2 million. That project has been awarded, so it's kind of in the Baser Civic Center area, quite a bit of trails and sidewalks and stuff, so that project is going to move forward. Other than that, there's nothing else to update on regional transportation.
Questions for him? And then, future funding committee.
We got industrial side, are we?
Oh, I'm sorry, industrial site committee.
We've still got some work. I think we've just been kind of focusing on the future funding and haven't worked on that.
Well, I can add a little bit for the future funding committee. A group of us met, including some of our, I think a lot of our partners, I don't know if they all attended a Zoom meeting. Called board, last meeting wanted to set budget, or at least a prospective budget, which we have prepared. And I don't know if we got that stuck out or not. We will have to get that. But we worked through for an hour and a half or so. We come through with a budget of just under 1 mil. We felt at that time the group, which include professional services, which would be LCDC because we have no staff, keep that in mind. 200,000 economic studies, which can include a lot of things, but one of them is the labor shed study that we use constantly. And there are a couple others, individual studies for projects, like the Wichita State University, which I think communities use. That's at 55,000. Future park development, which this was a challenge. Because it is such a large, long-term item. We have budgeted that in at 400,000 a year. And that would be debt service if we went and took debt or had a bond, buy land and do things that the county previously did for us at the industrial parks. Marketing was 150,000, which would be a step from zero because we don't market very much. Job job retention and creation funds, incentives would be 50,000. And economic incentives, would be other types of economic incentives to get people to come to our communities was 200,000 for a total of $1,055,000. So that was, we put that into a package and we're going to present that to LCDC as well. And to let them take a look and then try to establish possibly a study session with the LCDC board, our partners, and the Port Authority board at the big crowd. But it's to really finalize the numbers, and is that what we want to do? Lisa met with the county clerk, is that correct? Or on the cost of a mail-in budget or budget, sorry, retract that mail-in ballot. And the number was slightly higher than what we had thought or shared, and it was probably 50,000, not 30,000. So we need to have that conversation. So it's been quite a few things going on, and then there is conversation about should we go ahead and pay for a small survey for the county to have that, do voters want that? Now, keep in mind, we're doing what the county commissioners asked us to do, and they asked us to go out and find longer term permanent type funding. And we're going through the process, and keep in mind that the first step in the process was to, and I hate to belabor all this, but getting it right is really important. And so we went to the attorney to make sure that we could do what we said we were doing. We could do it accurately and correctly and not be offended or not offend anyone. We've got that out of the way. The budget was the next step. We've got that out of the way. I think the next step, we went to find the cost of a mail-in ballot. We got that out of the way. The next step was trying to meet with the county commissioners to make sure we're meeting with correctly and we're going the direction they want us to. And I think we're not able to get anything scheduled. We're ready. It's just their schedule looks like after the first of the year and probably new commissioners. I mean, I don't know that, but that's what I'm guessing is why we're pushed to January. And that makes total sense. And in the interim, what we've had a conversation on is let's get all the stakeholders involved in maybe just a work session, or are we going the right direction? Because we need leadership across the whole county if we're going to make this work. How does it affect each individual partner's areas, their communities, their cities, their county? And so feedback in direction is critical. Involvement across the board with everybody and elected officials as well. Obviously, there's open meeting rules that we have to follow. But trying to get everybody on the same page, going the same direction is really important on this. I think in the long run, it will cost a little bit, but it'll save a little bit because we can really focus our economic development energies and money in a certain direction versus shotgunning it all over the place. That's the update I have. I hope, Lisa, if I missed something, or Greg, I know you're on the road. Next step would be, and I'm really encouraging, we're going to attempt to put together a gathering of all the stakeholders and encourage all of our outside stakeholders to get involved, get your people involved, get them to show up. If you're elected officials, your staff, so we can really focus this because we want to have one story going when we go sell that to the public. Does anybody else have any comments or suggestions or thoughts or?
I have one question. If the 1,055,000 is the budget, what does that represent in mills?
About
Half mil?
0.95.
0.95.
A mill right now generates a little over 1.1.
Mhm.
So it's under a mill.
Well, that was what I was interested in. So
Yeah. It's under a mill. And if somebody has opinions, I mean, we beat that budget to death, and you know, that we could have a million opinions. We want to come up with a firm number, but trying to do things that we're with all the other communities that we're competing against, they're doing all these things. We're not doing very many of them. And it's a good opportunity to try to get some of these on the table.
Well, this is what the county commissioners asked us to do.
Yeah.
So now, I'm not speaking for them. We'll have to wait until we get the new group in. They sit down and talk to us about that, but this is what they want us to do, so it's not something they have to fight every year. But we're gonna have to sell it.
Yeah, and I hope I hope they don't think we're moving too slowly. That was a concern. Are we moving too slowly? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm not a politician, nor do I want to be. So I don't know what we should be doing, but we want to do it right. I know that. We want to make sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And that we have involvement from everybody.
What is our target year for implementation? Are we talking 2025 or are we talking 2026?
I think the goal is still 2025, sometime earlier in the year, but I think that if we go do a poll, that's gonna push us out. If we get a gathering and strategic planning together where we're going, so we're all focused, that may push us out, so we may be farther down the road. But I think the goal should still be the original, which is early sometime next year. But that, I mean, I think, yeah, obviously, everybody, we're all volunteers here. How much time do you have? And so we all answer that question of when we, and the partners need to have input too. And I'd sure be anxious to hear something from our cities or our county. If they have any opinions or comments or thoughts, please speak up. That's what we're here for. I don't think any of us are doing this for our health.
Well, we should all make ourselves available if we can to those cities, to the counties, if they want to talk to us individually or as a small group, whatever.
Absolutely.
So we can show them exactly what we're trying to do. I mean, this is the history of the organization we're talking about here, so.
Anything else? Lisa, did I miss anything?
I think you covered it.
As we keep going.
Thank you very much. Before we move on to the affiliate partner updates, we talked about this a little bit, as we kind of wandered in today. We traditionally have bypassed the December meeting because it's so close to Christmas. How does everybody feel about that?
You're talking about the LCPA meeting, not these funding committees.
Right.
Just the board meeting.
Just the board meeting. Lisa, you don't have a grin on your face, so.
Oh, no, I don't have a thought. I mean, I think that it'd be fine.
Historically, as you pointed out, Chairman, we typically do forego the December meeting, so I would be fully in favor of that. To the treasurer's point, as long as it doesn't impact, the other work that's going on.
Address that. We've given him authority to do that. I think that's the only thing pressing that would be in December.
Right.
Any thoughts for everybody else?
Yeah, my only concern was moving it ahead for the county, not the CD. If there's some action we need to do, how fast can we get together, or is that electronic?
Well, the beauty of it is we're a small group in that particular regard. I'm sure we could reach a quorum if we had to. It may not be 12 o'clock on a Tuesday.
We just want to leave it on the calendar and we can cancel the week before if nothing else.
That's what I was saying, just leave it on the calendar, we can cancel it.
Okay.
I don't, it's already said. I don't think we
Yeah,
need a motion.
yeah.
Okay.
We're already set. It's already a permanent calendar item anyway.
All you have to do
We
is
just
call
need to
Lisa.
let everybody
say,
know.
"Don't have
ahead
anything
of time.
canceled."
Okay. And part of it in the past and part of it. Well, not behind the scenes.
I'm just nervous about canceling it and then having to recreate it should something come up with LCDC or the county.
Okay.
Good point.
All right, so we'll move on to our affiliated partners out there. Josh, you were online. Anything to add to us? There he is.
Sorry, I'm trying to get to my my audio. Anything to add? Yeah, I am actively working on making myself miserable. In that we've got some projects coming in economic development wise that we're excited about. But the planning side of me, the community and development side of me is not super excited. But No, it's good stuff's coming through. So keep your eyes peeled. You'll see some interesting projects coming down the pike. So I'm excited there for that. And right now I'm not going to say anything else about that, and I don't mean to be. No, that's not true. I do mean to be vague and pique your interest. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to open up some opportunities for everybody, and well, at least in Lansing, but open up some opportunities. So.
Get your roof fixed?
Yeah, no, we are almost done. We should be back into city council chambers, hopefully first week of December. Speaking of which, thank you. I gotta make a phone call on that. We should be back there. Tim has never left the building really. He's been holding down the fort, but we are slowly, police has moved over into where they need to be. Tim's back, Tish is back. We still have a couple of folks over here. But other than that, we are almost ready. So.
Thanks,
Anything else?
Josh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, all.
Penny, are you there?
Good afternoon. I have 3 updates for today. As everyone I think has seen, 4th Street through the downtown in Leavenworth is open. So that's very exciting. We do not have the signals up yet. So just be cautious going down 4th Street with stop signs and a few changes, but we expect that to be installed shortly, and then that project will be relatively completed. We are also working on the replacement of fire station number 3. That is underway as well. And then this Friday is the mayor's holiday parade and tree lighting. So if you'd like to come out downtown Leavenworth and participate in that, you're welcome to join us all. That's all I have today.
Penny. Let's see all over there.
Oh, can you have a list?
There.
George?
George, any comment from the south end of the county?
Yeah, down on the south end. Yeah, thank you. Just a few quick things. The Roush Coleman Housing Project, they did a ribbon cutting last week. It was well attended. They're moving units. Just to give you an idea, since September, we've issued 21 building permits, and they've sold a little over half of those homes, and have kind of moved actually from selling spec homes to selling lots and doing more customized floor plans. So that's great. Down at the business park, DSM is pretty much complete with the shell of the building. The office space is a little over 90% complete, I'd say. We're anticipating an opportunity for our local city council to tour that facility in December. They still plan to go operational in the 3rd quarter next year. The polished and decorative concrete building, it's a standalone 20,000 square foot building. They were issued a occupancy permit, and so they're operational, and that's right off of 2440 as you come into town. Hills continues to move forward. I think in the past I'd mentioned the development agreement required them to buy a minimum amount of water from the city per month. And we kind of scheduled all that to make debt payments on an elevated water tower. We were able to get a federal grant to pay for half the water tower, and Hills has doubled the minimum requirement. So they're buying about 6 million gallons of water from us a month. So that's great. The dog park that they contributed about $250,000 towards is close. I think we all wish they would have thrown some hydro seed or sod down to get the benefit of this rain. So I think we're just waiting on that. And to follow up with like what Penny said, the mayor's Christmas tree lighting is this Saturday in Tonganoxie over at the public library. So thanks. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, George.
That's it. Oh, Vicky.
Ms. Haas, do you have anything for us today?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Sorry, it's a bit awkward. We're working on a little bitty laptop all the way across the roof. I think that's everybody. Have we missed anybody?
Is Baser in?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. You know what?
No, they are not.
B comes after A, which means we're in second place.
All right.
So, I don't have nothing, for Baser, so. that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Smooth.
We're adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Project.